Namaste ji. Am I audible? Anushri, Professor.
Yeah, audible.
Namaste ji, how are you? Nice to see you.
Namaste.
Mr. Bala, we can start.
Yeah, Professor, we can start. We can go ahead.
Sir, can we start, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Namaskar. I am Dr. Anushri Bablani, faculty from Computer Science and Engineering, Indian Institute of Information Technology, SriCity, and I will be presenting you the program today. On the behalf of IIIT SriCity, I welcome you all to the launch of Outcome-Based Education Curriculum. Before we begin the program, I would request you all to let's pray together.
Anushri, it is not audible.
Anushri is not audible. I think, Anushri, please stop this. We will pray together.
They can stop it, Professor. We can,
Yeah.
if somebody can sing, we can do that.
I think we will.
I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Bintu Dusharaharathvala Ya Supravastramrita Ya Veena Varadanda Manditakara Ya Spedabatmastana Ya Brahmachuta Shankara Prabhitibhihi Devai Sata Pujita Samambadu Saraswati Bhagavati Nishesha Jatyapaka.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, remembering the goddess of knowledge, I will begin the program. An outcome-based curriculum is designed with the outcome in mind right at its conception. The OBE curriculum focuses on student-centeredness and letting them acquire necessary skills and competencies required for performing their job roles. The outcome-centered approach replaces the time-bound curriculum of the traditional learning. We are today launching the new OBE curriculum of BTech and MTech programs. We are honored to have Professor Anil Sahasrabuddhe, Chairman IICTE, our Chairman BOG of IIIT SriCity, Shri Balasubramaniam ji with us. I would now request Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Associate Professor, CSE, who has been coordinating the meetings, and he gave a structure to OBE curriculum with his team members. Now he will deliver the welcome address. Sir, please.
Hello. Good evening to everyone. It's my privilege and pleasure on behalf of the Indian Institute of Information Technology, IIIT SriCity, Chittoor, to welcome you today at the launch of outcome-based curriculum for BTech and MTech programs as part of NEP 2020 initiative of Government of India. Having started in the campus of IIIT Hyderabad, IIIT SriCity has grown up to a notable place in the entire IIIT system within a short span of time. The curriculum plays an important role in inclusive learning and provide practical orientation to students, making them industry-ready coders. Many of you have allotted time to be here, serves as a reminder to us, showing how important you are to us. A warm welcome to all of you. I feel extremely honored to welcome our chief guest, Professor Anil D. Sahasrabuddhe, Chairman, All India Council for Technical Education, who is well known in academia. Being an alumnus of Indian Institute of Science, a mechanical engineer by profession, and currently being the chairman of IICTE, Professor Sahasrabuddhe has taken up several initiatives for strengthening technical education in India that include notable academic reforms, curricular, co-curricular activities, encouraging entrepreneurship, applied research, and good governance. He has been bestowed with several awards, including Lifetime Achievement Award in 2019. Sir, it is such a unique privilege to have you among us as the chief guest to deliver the inaugural address. A hearty welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
We have a fantastic personality and a dynamic leader, Shri M. Balasubramaniam, Chairman, Board of Governors, IIIT SriCity, with us today. He will enlighten us by sharing his wisdom and thought with us. His words will always encourage all of us, and we are curious to hear from you, sir. A warm welcome to you, sir. We are happy to welcome our beloved director, Professor G. Kannabiran, sir, who is not only an academician, a good administrator, and a nice human being, but also very keen on supporting students in all possible ways. Bringing out the outcome-based curriculum for BTech and MTech programs of IIIT SriCity would have become a reality only with your active support and periodic follow-up, sir. So wholeheartedly, we welcome you for this inauguration. Respected board members, Senate members, central and state government officials, beloved industry partners, my dear colleagues, staff members, research scholars, PG and UG students, we welcome all of you to this OBE launch program. This day would be memorable in our life, and this moment would be a great starting point for beginning the student-centric learning paradigm. So, my dear beloved students, please be prepared to be challenged, excited, and inspired by the redesigned outcome-based curriculum of IIIT SriCity. Hearty welcome to all of you. Finally, on behalf of IIIT SriCity, we welcome every one of you personally to mark the beginning of the outcome-based curriculum at IIIT SriCity. Hearty welcome once again to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajendra. Now, I would like to request our director, Professor G. Kannabaran, to address our guests and participants and share with us the high-level details of the Obe curriculum. Over to you, sir.
Good evening to all of you. And I join Dr. Rajendra to welcome our chief guest, Professor IIIT SriCity, to launch this Obe curriculum. I also welcome our beloved chairman, Mr. Balasubramaniam, and others who have gathered here online to witness the launch. I take about 5 to 10 minutes of your valuable time to give the highlights of our efforts to launch NEP 2020, particularly the outcome-based education. Hope my screen is visible. Okay. So at the outset, I thank my colleagues, all of them, who have put in their entire summer vacation of 2 months, from April, May, June, the entire time periods, period of 3 months to get this Obe curriculum as part of our major transformational initiative. And the themes that I would like to focus here is how we are looking at the overall development of students, how we focus on UG research, practical orientation, industry readiness, holistic development, inclusive learning, and how very seamlessly we are able to integrate curricular, co-curricular and extracurricular activities in order to ensure the overall development. The Obe implementation started as early as in March 2021. Our Chairman Mr. Bala inaugurated the efforts. And we had a number of workshops and seminars as part of this. We had Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General Association of Indian Universities, to brief us on NEP 2020. We had a session by Sri Raj Nehru, Sri Vishwakarma Skill University Vice Chancellor, to focus on skills. We had Professor Pramod Mehta, IIT Madras, on basics and requirements of Obe implementation. We had the entire NIT team to share their experiences so that we can learn from their efforts in order to do a better curriculum. We also had a webinar on competency-based education by Professor A.G. Ranade of IIT Mumbai. In addition to that, we had informally talked to many experts in this field before we got into this act. The key steps involved, setting up the program outcomes for the 4 programs, 2 BTech programs and 2 MTech programs. And this is where we spent a sizable time in terms of understanding the stakeholders' expectation, be it industry, be it society, or be it other academic institutions in the ecosystem, that we wanted to really understand what they want so that the program objectives on the higher level can be tightly linked to the expectations. Group level deliberations to arrive at the program specific outcomes and for the specialization courses were the next step. And a joint meeting for arriving at course outcomes also were taken up subsequently. For each course, we had a 3-member team to look at the course objectives, syllabus, as well as the learning outcomes. Now, this almost we spent a month's time to look at each course, faculty who was teaching the course, and the faculty who's currently teaching the course, and the faculty who's showing interest to teach that course in the future. We had a team of 3 faculty members for each course to look at the course, define the course objectives. And they internally, they were able to discuss so many things, but they also talked to the industry people to take their inputs. And the course outcomes are arrived based on that. And for the first time, we are introducing what is called lecture outcomes. Basically, once the course outcomes are done and the course is delivered, at that time, lecture by lecture, we want to capture whether the outcomes are being achieved so that the overall course outcomes are at the end of the semester achieved. And we had inputs from industry experts in various stages, both for the tracks and the specializations, and the program advisory groups, and finally by the Senate to get a final curriculum ready. And we also done a systematic mapping of COs with POs of the programs. Always we see there are a set of POs defined and there are a set of COs defined, but there are no mechanism, a systematic mechanism of linking these two that we have arrived at through this framework. Obviously, as you see here in the screen, that we have identified these in a range of 1 to 5, from not relevant to highly relevant. And each course objective is linked to the program objectives in using this framework. And this is a additional thing that we have tried, as I explained to you. This is part of the course plan to be used by the individual faculty members. And this helps us to better review and have a control mechanism to achieve the COs at the end of the semester. Each lecture or topic to have clearly defined outcomes. And it's also useful to catch the attention of students by clearly announcing the class and that day's class or in that week's class, this is what they want to learn. And they also are able to track what they are learning class by class, week by week. And it helps to dynamically manage the expectation of the students. Obviously, you get different kinds of students, and telling the students and every week and every class that this is what they're going to learn, and there are newer expectations, we are able to improvise that. And of course, there are POs that we have defined for all the 4 courses. And as an example, that I took the computer science program and its POs. As you clearly see here, there are 8 POs that we have defined. The 5 POs focuses on the technical aspects of the program, and the next 3 POs focuses on the overall development. And obviously, the first PO is ability to demonstrate critical thinking and problem-solving approaches for meeting industry, research, and social advancements. That's very important for us because at the end of the day, the ultimate stakeholders are industry, or research institutions, and society. And looking at the the overall development objectives, we are looking at the ability to work in diverse teams and contribute towards attainment of overall outcome or impact of tasks and projects, to be aware of ethics, values, and socially responsible behavior, and practice them in all possible situations, the ability to communicate clearly and precisely with the individuals and groups for achieving timely and quality outcomes. And we have taken additional care to ensure that these 3 non-technical program outcomes are systematically achieved. And here you see the program specific objectives, and we have tracks of courses and specializations. We have defined 3 generic PSOs for those tracks, and 2 program specialization specific PSOs. And as we have today AI and machine learning as a specialization, cybersecurity as a specialization, data science as a specialization in computer science, cyber physical systems as a specialization in ECE, and next gen wireless communication is also another new specialization that we have introduced. And also we have a track of courses called the full stack development, which I'll explain to you in a minute. The curriculum, as compared to many colleges, is relatively lightweight, which is 144 credits. And the idea is to give a lot of time to students to explore in the curricular and co-curricular activities. And we want them to learn more and more outside the classroom, and that will benefit them a lot, and it stays them for a long time. So out of which we have taken out 24 credits for the overall development domains, what we call as SHAM, Science, Skills, Humanities, Aptitude, and Management. This is where we are allocating 24 credits. And we have a very unique honors program in which the students take up a research work over a period of 4 semesters to finally arrive at a research paper or an IP or a working model of a solution. Unlike other institutes where they do additional courses and get the credits, here they need to publish papers. They get the honors degree only when they meet these one of the 3 requirements. And if they take up a specialization, they have to do additional 14 credits in terms of 3 courses and an industry-based project. And this is how the curriculum is structured. Even with the specialization and honors, the maximum number of credits that the student do is only 166. And for the first time, I'm sure in first time in our country, that we are looking at a track of courses on full stack development and the computer science program. Now it has been learned that the year on year, the requirements for full stack development competence is increasing. It has been found that it is likely to increase by 24% in the next few years. We really want to address that gap of competencies and skills. And these courses they do from 4th to 6th semester, and they do an extended project starting from the 4th to 6th semester. And they learn the technologies and they do a project to demonstrate that they have learned the technologies. And here is a description of this full stack development track, which consists of full stack fundamentals of full stack development and framework driven front-end development and web services and back-end development. This is this kind of courses as part of a formal curriculum. I'm sure that is first time happening in India. And we have, as I earlier said, there are specializations, AI and machine learning, cybersecurity, data science in the computer science program, and cyber physical systems, next gen wireless communication as specialization under the EC program. Moving forward, how are we introducing the practical orientation in the program? First of all, we follow an approach called practice, theory, practice. So in the first 2 years of the course, there is a lot of practice through the laboratory courses and the mini projects at the subject level. And they learn the theory in the 3rd semester. And again, 4th semester, they do internship in the summer and a semester-long internship in the companies in the 7th or 8th semester. And the student exchange program in the 6th semester offers another possibility for them to go and work in research labs in the other universities. And we also have the short internship in our TBI, Gyan Circle Ventures, and also we are part of the Institute Innovation Cell of IICT. These are guided by faculty through technical clubs as well. And industry readiness is clearly articulated through the full stack development kind of courses and the specializations, and the focus on communication skills and soft skills so that the students are have enough competency and they are able to communicate and do the jobs better in the industry. And holistic development, there is a whole range of courses that we have launched, starting from foundation in human values, professional ethics, climate change and implications, personal growth development, appreciation of arts and films, national and foreign languages. And here again, these are supported by the cultural clubs run by the students. The 4th is the inclusive learning. Here, of course, we have diversity in all our teams. For example, in a subject, when we are forming teams, project teams, we ensure that diversity is there. We have a team of 4 students, a student who is performing well, and a student at the middle, and a student at a slow learner. They are put together so that the peer learning happens in an effective way. And we also have a mentoring support for slow learners in the first year, and we take them in the very first semester itself and train them to achieve the required level of competencies. And we have adopted 5 villages under Untitled Bharat Abhiyan, and the students engaged in these villages. Now the Board of Governors in the recent meeting has suggested that the students should be allowed to do a project, a socially focused innovation project, picking up the problems in the society in the UBA villages or outside the UBA villages, and they are able to try and see their innovative ideas getting implemented in those villages. These are some of our efforts. And today the OBE document is just a document, but how we are going to implement from the first year to the final year of the BTech program, or the first year and second year of the MTech program, is going to be a matter. So we are very happy that it is getting launched by none other than our chairman IICT in his golden hands, and we are sure that this will be a real value add to our curriculum as well as to the institute. Thank you, and all.
Thank you so much, sir, and to share with us all the details of Obe Curriculum. Now, I would request our BOG chairman, Shri M. Balasubramaniam, who is also the managing director, Blackboard India Private Limited. He has more than 20 years of industry experience. Mr. Balasubramanian ji is presently the industry member representative of CyCOR, Cyber Coordination Committee, Ministry of Home, Government of India. Apart from the professional accomplishments above, he is active in supporting state governments also to design and deliver IT-based solution for service delivery. I may now invite him to address the attendees. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor. Namaste, everybody. The secret of change is to focus all our energy, not on fighting the old, but creating the new, said Socrates. With this said quote, I take this opportunity to invite our respected chairman of All India Council of Technical Education, Professor Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe, and vibrant academicians and industry leader, I would say, who has been transforming the last 6 years. I've seen him since 2015. I got an opportunity to work on a couple of things. One is the recent National Educational Technology Forum, where we are part of 30 members, we're part of designing the NETF, and the kind of the suggestions and the insights our AST chairman provided was fantastic. So I was thinking, what am I doing being an edutech guy for the last 10 years? And likewise, few years back, I reached out to Professor Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe for conducting an outcome-based education tools workshop. And he was kind enough in giving 5 days of workshop at NITTR Chandigarh. I don't know whether Professor remembers that, but I was happy to conduct that workshop for about 17 professors, fetching 96% of result. I mean, what I'm trying to say, even before NEP was launched, 4 years back, Professor was so keen on making the outcome-based education for the whole country. We are very happy to have him today. Welcome you, sir. Dedicated Director, Dr. Kannabiran, the person who's instrumental in a lot of new initiatives, consistently growing the institute to a next level. Welcome you. Professor Dr. Rajendra, Professor Dr. Anushri, and the professor colleagues, student friends. This is an important moment for all of us, and especially for me, as you know, although I'm from the IT industry, my last 10 years of experience are more on edutech, where I spent a lot of time in designing the educational tools, campus assessment, and a lot of things focusing on OBE that was aligned with Washington Accord and ABET. So if you look at the cognitive, social, and emotional skill learning is the central of student success. And today, the global skilling emergency is there everywhere, right? So if you look at under NEP 2020, the focus area of reforms seek to cultivate 21st century skills among the students, including critical thinking, problem solving, and digital literacy. If you look at the World Economic Forum, the top 5 skills of 2025, that includes analytical thinking, innovation, the active learning and strategies, complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, so on and so forth. If you look at OECD, the cognitive, metacognitive, social and emotional skills, physical and practical skills are critical for 2030. If you look at the recent World Bank Survey 2021, along with Government of Gujarat and Government of India, the World Bank has signed for 500 million program to improve the educational outcomes of children across the state of Gujarat. If you look at United Nations Scientific Research, Education and Research Organization and Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Peace and Education and Peace Sustainable Development Institute, they're given an equal weightage to not only to the knowledge acquisition, but also to use and pay attention to develop the pro-social aptitudes with an end goal of giving individual an opportunity to lead a life. If you look at growing emphasis by international world organization, be it UNESCO or World Health Organization or UNICEF, to deliver a social emotional learning to enhance learning outcomes by the students. If you look at, dear friends, the pandemic is further creating a need for students to self-learn, demanding higher order thinking skills, and for teachers to digitally engage the students and outside the curriculum productivity. If you look at all the quotes that which I said, all the surveys, the final bottom line, what it means, the global industry looks at outcome-based education, which is what exactly our National Educational Policy 2020 has given us. Thanks to Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji and the MHRD Department, Minister of Education Department, for spending so much efforts and focusing on the country's growth, especially in making NEP 2020. And since we launched it, I'm sure most of you are aware the kind of transformation the country is stepping towards in making this NEP successful over a period of time. If you look at the basic tenets of OBE, are shifting the focus of educational activity from teaching to learning, right? From skilling to thinking, content to process, teacher instructions to student demonstration. So this is how the shift is actually looked upon. If you look at OBE, in my view, it is not a program. It is not a package. It is not a technique. It is not a fad. It's not a quick fix. It is not a panacea. It is not a miracle. It is not an event. OBE is a transformational way of education where the expected outcome of the OBE is knowledge, skill, and attitude, and where these outcomes are a result of the learning process. I would like to share some of the perspectives which was very interesting for me when I started looking at outcome-based education 10 years back. In 1993, the Research Roundup published a collection of reviews that described the OBE. But actually, it was a very controversial model of educational restructuring. That's what it was meant for in those days. But almost 2.5 decades later, the concept of organizing the curriculum, content, the learning activities around specific demonstrable outcomes, still it is controversial. But our NEP has very clearly drafted how this OBE can be implemented, followed, affected, and succeeded. To make matters more challenging in terms of competencies and competency-based learnings, mastery and mastery-based learnings are often used in the same sentence in the past, right? So if you look at the OBE's principle, where the student-centric approach, clarity, and flexibility are the key characteristics, I would say. So when you look at the outcome-based education compared to the mastery-based learning or a competency-based learning model, the OBE is well articulated in our national educational policy, right? There are a lot of advantage in outcome-based education over the many educational models that is followed globally. But if you look at the OBE, the subtle difference, the very, very key difference is the objective of the mastery-based learning and the competency-based learning is little different than what we call as outcome-based learning, because today the time and energy, basically to produce a meaningful content, construct a reliable metrics of success, support the students with regular and substantive feedback and interactivity. These are the key things under the time and energy. Unbundle the instructional roles, right? Because each of the model that is followed globally has different roles to perform, whereas the OBE, which is specifically articulated in NEP, is designed in such a way that forms accountability, and that's been very, very clearly articulated. And the third one, which I would like to quote, is a disruption, right? Shift is how the instruction, assessment, support is organized can be disruptive. But if it is not well managed, it can yield remarkable results for learners and institutions, right? So this kind of shift will require very large time planning and devoted to the change management. I think all the professors, faculty members should be willing to look at the change management, because for students, they are tech savvy and they're ready to adapt, right? But the professors should ensure the adaptability and the flexibility is devoted in terms of understanding a process of change management, because it takes some time and energy and efforts, and making sure our institution can support it. As saying goes, Rome was not built all of a sudden, right? It took about 10 lakh and odd days. Likewise, it's not a one-day process where today we implement and tomorrow we are going to go ahead. It takes time. I think it is the effort of everybody. I remember last 2 months where all our faculty members spend their vacation in being part of the weekly OBE classes, OBE brainstorming sessions. And thanks to Professor Dr. Kannabera and all the faculty members for taking this very seriously. And I think, if I'm not wrong, we should be one of the few institutes in India launch Obe Curriculum. That too with our eminent chief guest, the industry leader, academia leader for our country, Professor Dr. Anil Sharadrabade sir, for taking time to be part of this inauguration. I wish IIIT SriCity faculties, students, everybody all the very best for a meaningful, measurable, and manageable outcomes in the years to come. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Shri Balasubramanian ji. Thank you for explaining us what are the objectives of OBE and how OBE is not only is like a transformation into the education. Thank you for your words. Now, I would like to invite our chief guest of the day, Professor Anil D. Sahasrabuddheji, Chairman, All India Council of Technical Education. Professor Anil D. Sahasrabuddhe, Professor of Mechanical Engineering at Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, is currently Chairman of IICTE. He has held several important academic, research, and administrative positions at Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore, Tata Consulting Engineers, Northeastern Regional Institute of Science and Technology, Itanagar, Arunachal Pradesh, and IIT Guwahati. He also served as a director, College of Engineering, Pune, since 2006 on deputation from IIT Guwahati prior to joining as IICTE chairman. As an academician and researcher at National Eastern Regional Institute of Science and Technology, Itanagar, and IIT Guwahati, and as an administrator in the capacity of director at COE Pune, he has taken up several new initiatives for academic, curricular, and co-curricular activities, entrepreneurship, research, and good governance. He is chairman of Basic Scientific Research, Empowered Committee of UGC and Swayam Board. He is fellow of ISTE, IET, Institution of Engineers, IE, and INAE. He has been bestowed with several awards, which includes Maha Entrepreneur Award 2011 of Praj Industries, Jeevan Gaurav Puraskar, Lifetime Achievement Award for MIT World Peace University, Pune in 2019, Mahatma Gandhi Leadership Award for Indian Achievers Forum and CSR Times. We warmly welcome you, sir, for this program. And now I would like to request you to kindly address the audience. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anusri, for that introduction. And I was very delighted and happy to be amongst all of you on the occasion of release of outcome-based curriculum for IIIT at SriCity, Chittor. But more importantly, I was carefully listening to Rajendra Prasad ji in the beginning, and thereafter Director Dr. G. Kannabiran. Both of them explained how this entire outcome-based education was created. But even more important than that, the chairman of the Board of Governors, Sri M.S. Balasubramanian, the way he explained about competencies and how what industry looks at and how outcome-based education as a philosophy has to be adopted in educational institutions, which about a couple of decades ago was being tried, but people were not ready to accept it. And today everyone talks about outcome-based education. I think that is very, very eloquently told by Bala. Thank you for all of that information that you have shared. As far as IICT is concerned, I will come to that a little bit later. But more importantly, I was listening very carefully about various aspects that you were telling. The faculty who were all involved in this outcome-based education, they are important. They are the most important stakeholders. Because in order to deliver, a document could be a very good document. And I have seen for doing accreditation, many institutions employ some outsourced services to create a what we call a self-assessment report and then claim so many things and then submit it. And when the visit takes place and a simple query made by the experts to the faculty members, they are found blank. That is because the entire document itself is not created by those faculty at all. And therefore, unless faculty create the document, they will not know the inner details of that, nuances of that. And that is why I was very pleased that all the faculty of IIIT SriCity were involved in creating this model curriculum, which is going to be used by you in the future. Secondly, you did not only live with your own faculty, but you had several stakeholders who were also onboarded. For example, you had AIU Director General Pankaj Mittal, Pramod Mehta, you had Raj Nehru. From the skill perspective, he is Vice Chancellor of a skill university. Dr. Ranade is a passionate faculty member of IIT Bombay who delivers a lot of ideas for how to teach computer science programming languages. And I think IICT is working with him on this front as well. So I think all of them, and also people from industry, when you have taken them all on board, a great vision is created. And I would like to now come back to the gross, what you say, nitty-gritty details, that although we talk about program outcomes and course outcomes and the linkages between the two and how they are all to be actually implemented, thereby the achievements of the outcomes are going to be tested after some time after the graduates flow out, that is certainly there. But I am going one step, one level higher. Every institution, come what it may be of whatever variety, in India, all of us, we are all not-for-profit entities, be it in private sector or in the government sector. And therefore, we have to take care of all our stakeholders, because whatever fee we are charging, are we really satisfying that stakeholder in terms of payment that they have made? Return on investment, is it happening? I think therefore, most important stakeholder in my opinion is the students. And the next important ones are the industry who recruit these students after they graduate. I think these are two very key elements. But of course, faculty who remain in the institution for about 3 decades to 3.5 decades till they retire are also an important component. And then parents pay the fees, so parents have an expectation. The government has an expectation from the graduates. The society has an expectation. So it is a very complex world where the expectations of students, faculty, industry, the government, the parents, the society has to be taken care of when we are doing our own institution's vision, mission, goals. So this is at the top end. Even before going to the program outcomes, I think each institution must have a clear idea of what are they trying to do. Maybe some institution may think that we will create all engineers who are created from our institution who graduate are employable. Some other institution will say, we want to create all engineers who are graduating from our institution to be completely entrepreneurs, and then none of them will seek jobs at all. The third variety may be our people will get into a very high-end service, something like a IAS service or IES service, IPS service, and so on, and then deliver what we say, citizenry requires a lot of support system that our people will be passionate about doing that. I think these are kind of possible. Someone else will say that I would like to create our engineers who will be researchers or innovators. So there are a variety of them. Or some institution may have a clear distribution amongst these 3 sectors, 3, 4, 5, whatever sectors, that some of them will get into this, some of them into some other domain. Some kind of a clear vision statement is required for an institution before we get into the program outcomes. Once you have an institution level vision, then your mission statements, your goals will be set, and all your programs, you are talking about computer science program in general, but there are institutions who have 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 programs, so both undergraduate level and some 10, 15 postgraduate programs. And they all must be in alignment with the institutional, whatever vision, mission, goals are there. They have to be in sync. And once that is in sync, then program level activities, that is program outcomes, in terms of what will they deliver, the graduates after they graduate, has to be clearly enunciated. And to do that, what type of courses are required? These credits and all, you are saying that we are not having a time-bound program in this particular module. Normally, we have a time-bound program. In most of the cases, UGC or IICT or even IITs or NITs for that matter, we say bachelor's program in technology means 4-year program. BSc, BA, BCom is all 3-year program. Some MBBS is a 4.5-year program followed by an internship for 1 year. These are all defined. We are all talking about time-bound. But some of the students may take longer time. That is anyway permissible as far as the statutes of the university are concerned, because of some maybe a drop in 1 semester or failure in 1 or 2 semesters. Therefore, students may likely to take, or someone may fall sick and therefore cannot take exams. So some extended time is given, but the period for completion of the program is defined, and one cannot complete before that. Today, in the new national education policy, a lot of flexibility is shown in terms of one is multidisciplinary nature, multiple exit, multiple entry, And instead of time-bound program, because it's all based on academic bank of credits and you can store your courses done in the form of credits, you can encash it elsewhere. And therefore, there's nothing like time, that is going to be possibly there. So you are one step ahead. Whatever NEP is talking about, making it timeless, someone can complete maybe earlier, someone may complete a little later. What is significant is whatever we have decided that the outcomes are to be achieved, are they going to be achieved through these number of credits which are earmarked, identified in the program. And therefore, for all the outcomes which are going to be decided for the program, and there may be program specific objectives and outcomes, how these are going to be achieved through what type of courses, and each one of those courses are to be mapped, and that is one of the great matrix exercise outcomes of the program linked with the course outcomes. And in the course also, within a given course, there could be multiple outcomes they are achieved. And all of that linkages is a complex matrix, and unless faculty members are deeply involved, and even while doing all of this exercise, if students are not involved, students will not be able to capture the essence of this, and they will not be able to really be able to guide, through this particular type of an activity. And therefore, students also may be required to understand when the accreditation team comes, they will meet in general faculty, thereafter students, and only then they will talk to some industry or parents and some people from the society. And therefore, this is a very significant step which you have already undertaken. And if there is something to be done in terms of educating our students or industry body further about the curriculum, please make do so. Secondly, you are also referring to various types of other activities. This is very significant. So far, before this NEP came in, other than academic credits, many other things were also mandatory in many cases, but they were all called either extracurricular or co-curricular. The new national education policy does not distinguish between co-curricular, extracurricular, and curricular. Everything is curricular. Be it yoga, be it meditation, be it in terms of different clubs, your activities, be it sports, be it music, dance, drama. One can, of course, you have a limitation. You can't have courses only in music, dance, drama, all 64 kalas which India has has had in the past, and then say that give a degree in mechanical engineering or computer science will not happen. But a flavor of variety of electives as per the choice of the student has to be allowed in terms of what we create life skills. In fact, we need not have a separate program for life skills if we really indulge our students and faculty clearly in terms of the activities like NSS, NCC, yoga, various types of clubs, and music, dance, now. If these kind of clubs are available in the institution, in the natural course, students will get attracted to not all of them, but at least 3 or 4 of them. And this is where they will learn many things, outside the classroom. Maybe leadership, maybe how do you work in teams, how do you manage, time, how do you get donations. Many of these activities are not funded by the institution. So students will go to different companies and try to get sponsorships. So the pitching of your idea to the industry and convincing them, that in startups we say 1 minute pitch. So something like that will also happen in all of this. So all of these activities are going to be creating what we call truly various types of competencies amongst our graduates within the framework of the curriculum. And then internship was also very valuable and important. You talked about project-based learning, and at different levels, projects being given to the students, challenging problem statements, and how do they solve the problems. I think this is all very, very intense and very, very inclusive, which is industry relevant, which is student-centric. These are all terminologies quite often used these days, but they have become part and parcel of the outcome-based curriculum, which Professor Kannabiran just explained a little while ago through the PowerPoint presentation. 3 important things are beyond this, and maybe more emphasis is to be laid is about design thinking, innovation, and research. And many people think that research means it's a PhD program, postdoctoral program, but I'm sorry, research can start at the school level itself. Innovation can start at the school level. And therefore, how do we encourage students to adopt to design thinking, innovation, and research? This is another fundamental thing which we must address. If there are formal courses, fine. If there are no formal courses, doesn't matter. There must be innovation clubs. There must be design thinking clubs. There can be a research orientation club. And we will be able to encourage students of across disciplines. And that is where students from different disciplines can come together. They are all probably most cross-disciplinary, cross-functional, interdisciplinary. All departments and disciplines can come together. And that is where a lot of ideas will germinate, and they can sometimes be forming into greater startups later, or some of them, these ideas will form into a patent, which they can encash in terms of selling the patent to some organization in order to create wealth. All of these possibilities come off from out of that. Now, the outcome-based education itself became very, very concrete only because of what we say National Board of Accreditation signing Washington Accord, a few years ago. This is the second cycle of our permission to continue with the signatory of Washington Accord. We successfully completed our 5 years, and then next 5 years we have been given the approval. But the preparation started long way, around maybe 12, 13 years ago, 15 years ago. And gradually we were in a temporary phase, we were given mentorship, and finally we came to outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based education, National Board of Accreditation. All of this started happening. The 12 parameters which are defined there as graduate attributes, although they are all for engineering program, they fit well for all other programs, be it in pharmacy, be it in architecture, be it in even arts, commerce, science, medicine, law, any type of education. Because only we have to change the words. The first parameter which it talks about is knowledge of engineering. Now, when we say engineering, because the degree is in engineering. Now, if it is in psychology, the knowledge of psychology, knowledge of medicine, it's only change of word from engineering to that, so it applies to all type of programs that we will be running in our educational institutions under our umbrella. I am restating this because even though IIIT is essentially in the domain of IT and computer science majorly, and may have some subsidiary other areas, the NEP talks about making institutions multidisciplinary. Maybe sometime later in another 5-10 years, one may have to start a program in philosophy, economics, or psychology. We be geared up for that. So the knowledge of whatever field we are talking about is the first parameter. Second one is problem analysis. This exists in all. Engineering has more possibility of having problems and their solution being found from various types of activities that we perform in engineering. But there are problems in psychology, there are problems in economics, there are problems in sociology, there are problems in science, in chemistry, physics, maths. So this is again something similar. The third one is investigation. That means what we say critical thinking, analytical ability. How do we develop that? And that is a significant, very important thing. Fourth one, I have already talked about in greater detail about design thinking. Design thinking is for design program. It is also for computer science program, because all kind of new products and processes we are likely to develop in the future must start from design thinking. That means if you go to the brass tacks, need analysis, whether there is a need for that. Sometimes without the need also, some of the advertisements create the need actually. By showing fantastic advertisements, people are tempted to buy that. But otherwise, normally any idea which comes, whether for before implementing, whether there is a need for that. If there is a need, how that need can be satisfied. And that is where design thinking begins. I think that is another important tool. Then comes the software, engineering tools, etc. There can be hardware tools and software tools. In some domains, maybe hardware tools are not there. But software tools will be probably existing in every domain today. And without a software, no discipline of education can continue. So that's a very significant thing. And these are absolutely 5 important parameters in engineering, but also can be applied with change of words to any discipline. But the rest of them are already common. For example, individual and teamwork. Leadership quality is also required, and working in team is also required. So sometimes I will become a part of the team, a member of the team. Sometimes I will lead the team. I think both the skills are very, very important in terms of the other attribute, that is individual and the teamwork. Communication skills, no matter which discipline, even ITI, whether it is a 8th standard, 10th standard person working on the shop floor, unless what he or she is doing is communicated to the supervisors or the subordinates, no work can function. And therefore, communication is a very important parameter, and which has 3-4 components. Many times communication means speaking ability. This is a misnomer. Communication means receiving information and giving information. This has various facets: reading skills, writing skills, speaking skills, listening skills. All of them are in a way communication skills. Then comes the professionalism. Be it in engineering or management or pharmacy, architecture, the profession that we have to follow is very, very significant and important in our culture, in our education system, in the Vedic past, from the Gurukula system to the universities of Takshila and Nalanda. Our graduation ceremony, when it used to happen, there were words to be uttered: dharmam chara, the satyam vada dharmam chara. Actually, this dharma is not religion. People mistaken for that. Of course, satyam is, everyone knows. You have to be truthful. You have to be honest. But dharmam chara is the profession which you are supposed to follow. You have to do it most ethically. And that's why the next important parameter is ethics, values, equity, which Constitution does say. But do we implement it in our practice? How do we make students aware of it? Our student induction program for 3 weeks duration, which IICT has started in universal human values and training of faculty, which we are doing, is creating a great deal of equity, great deal of ethical value system in our campuses. We have to be also concerned about environment, because many new things which happen sometimes are degrading our environment. So how do we create a product which will not destroy the environment, which will retain what we call sustainability? These are also very significant and important things as part of that. Then comes economics and project management. You have small project to large projects. A very big dam is to be constructed, or huge computer software is to be created, which has huge applications. I think project management and economics of that is also important. And finally and lastly, lifelong learning is enunciated, which is important because technologies are constantly changing and we have to be abreast with what is happening across the globe. And I cannot say later, after 10 years, that this was not taught in SriCity cities at IIIT, and therefore I don't know, industry will not accept it. You have to be prepared for learning on your own and continue with that. Then with this, this whole holistic development of outcome-based curriculum, which we have done with the support of several people, is noteworthy. I announced that it is launched. And secondly, I have my small request, it's not advice, but suggestion, request, that having done this exercise, you must start mentoring other institutions in creating outcome-based education, outcome-based curriculum. Because many institutions are still not aware. It is, maybe you have to help as a mentor. IICT has this mentorship program, which either Margadarshan scheme or Margdarshak scheme, under which 10 institutions, institution which can certainly help other institutions also to create the same thing. And with these few words, I conclude. Thank you very much for inviting me. In fact, I had a very tough time today. Other program of our internship day is going on in the auditorium. Halfway through, I had to quit and come here because of the request of our friend Dr. Kannabiran, who did not allow me. He said, you change the time. We will change by half an hour, 45 minutes, but you must come. So thank you very much. And all the faculty and students, you will have an enriching time, really enjoyable time through this kind of a curriculum.
Thank you so much, Professor Shastribuddhaji. Thank you for enlightening us and mentioning and giving the importance, telling us the importance of OBE. And you have rightly mentioned about the clarity on the visions and the goals a particular institute has before launching all the program. And also you have explained about the focus on not only curricular but including curricular into the co-curricular activities and making it as a life skill and living with the education and learning with the life. That is what. And also thank you for joining us. And it's my duty to propose the vote of thanks on the behalf of Institute. I would like to extend thanks to all of you who have joined us for the launch of the Obe Curriculum program. My heartfelt thanks to our chief guest, Professor Anil D. Sahasrabudhe, who spent his busiest time today and he graced the occasion. Thank you, sir, once again. We had this opportunity to hear your thoughts, and these thoughts were really encouraging. Thanks to our chairman, Mr. Bala, for joining us today and always being there with us, supporting us in all the events. Thank you so much. Thanks to our director, Professor Kannabaran, OBE coordinators, IIITS faculty who have spent days to structure the curriculum in the current form. We have been fortunate enough to be supported by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues at IIITS. Also, my thanks to IIIT staff and students who have joined us today. I thank you all for being with us this evening. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
So may I leave now, sir?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. We can close.
Congrats. Congrats. KV.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.